Hello class. So this is the review solution for the review session. A first review sheet. Okay, let's try to look into this one for a second. So as you guys have read the question here, we have C is equal to 15 degrees, and then we are looking for uh, conversion to Fahrenheit. So all we have to do in this case is plug in 15 in place of C right here. Now then we end up getting F is equal to 9 over 5 multiplied by 15 right here, and plus 32. Now, in this case, you can calculate this one by hand or using the calculator. Since this is multiplication, as if we have over 1, these two cancels out, becomes 3. Now then we have 27 plus 32, which is equal to 59. Therefore, choice 3 becomes our answer. Alright, how about this one? What is the speed? Now we need to find the rate, but when distance and then time, here we know that rate is equal to distance over time. So distance was 24, time was 6, therefore we end up getting 4 meters per second right here. Alright, let us move on. Now we have our cell phone plan that charges 7 cents per minute, and the monthly fee. So this is the amount. Monthly fee is the fee that's being added onto. Now, then this is the budget. In other words, if we have 29.50 divide not dividing, subtracting 19 from there, then we'll end up getting amount of money that was used by the charges per minute. So here we end up having 1050. So now what we'll be doing is, if you have to divide 1050 divide by 7 cents, of course we can try to do this one with the calculator if you wanted to then, or you can just do this one by and it doesn't matter which way. So we end up getting 1 and then 5. So 150 becomes our answer. So now, there it goes. Number 5. Now here we have to see which graph best represents the change of temperature in hot chocolate over time. Now, when you look at hot chocolate, it will decrease and then it will never go back up unless you reheat it. So therefore we know that this will not be the answer. Or this one also either. But when you look into that, hot chocolate, it gets warmer, but it doesn't go down to 0. You see, it doesn't go down all the way to 0. It doesn't freeze by itself. It just becomes a room temperature of some sort. So therefore, our answer becomes choice number 1. All right. Now here, number 6, what we can do is we can cross multiply them. Then we end up getting, make sure this 3 has to multiply not only to k, but also 4. So here we have 3 times k plus 4 equals 2 times k plus 9. Notice I put the parentheses. That's very important. Now we have 3k plus 12, which is equal to 2k plus 18. Now as we subtract 2k from each side, and then subtract 12 from each side, we'll end up getting k that's left, which is equal to 6. Therefore, our answer will be choice number 3. Now, here we had a 64 team starting. Now, half of them are eliminated. That means what's important here when you look into the question is how many teams are remaining. So the fact that half of them are eliminated, that means half of them will be still remaining. That means first we had a 64 team. Now after that we have half of that, 0.5 of 64 team. Now instead of calculating it, after another round we're going to have half of this, meaning 0.5 of this value right here. And then, of course, we will continue on. So therefore, what's actually happening is our answer will be That's choice number 4. We'll model the pattern that we've been seeing so far. Alright, now the next question here. Factoring, if you rewrite this one, this can be written as 3x whole thing squared minus 10 squared. In other words, this is simply the difference of squares. So therefore we're going to have 3x plus 10 times 3x minus 10. And that gives us answer to be number 2. Now we are looking for the equation that passes through these 2 points. Now, the best way is if you're to sketch this one, then it might be quite nice. So what I'm going to do is this right here. Of course, I'm going to make this one very small. I just wanted to show you what's happening. Alright, so 3 comma negative 3. So 3 comma negative 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 1 point. Next one is negative 3 comma negative 3. So negative 3 comma negative 3. Right here. The fact that a line passes through these 2 points, that means we are looking at like a horizontal line. Then horizontal line where x may change all the time, but y is always negative 3. Therefore, choice 3 becomes our answer. Notice that right here, negative 3, negative 3. Alright, let us move on. Here, we are looking for w. W is right here. That means we need to get rid of this one first. So, p equals 2l plus 2w. First, as we get rid of 2l by subtracting 2l from each side, then we end up getting p minus 2l equals 2w. Now then, we are looking for getting rid of 2 by dividing it by 2. So therefore, w equals this one. Now, where is that? It is right over here, choice number 2. What is the slope? We can use the slope formula if you wanted to, or you can just plot them. Either way would be fine. Now, if you have to use the slope formula, slope becomes y2 minus y1. Okay, 5 minus 3 over 2 minus 7. Then here in the numerator we get 2, on the denominator we get 5, negative 2 over 5. So we end up getting choice 2 becomes our answer. Now here, the roots of this equation, now you can see that this is a quadratic equation. So in order for us to solve for x, in fact this is factorable, so what we're going to be doing is this becomes x minus 3 and then x minus 7 equals to 0. That becomes a factor of this one. That means when we set up the t-chart, just like in class, x minus 3 is equal to 0. Therefore, x must be equal to 3 by adding 3. Here, same here, x minus 7 equal to 0. That means x must be equal to 7. So 3 and 7. That becomes our answer. Now, the next question. This much in nickels and dimes. Okay, so nickel being the 5 cents, 0.05, dime being 0.10 or 0.1, either way. Now, the thing is that if she has 6 more dimes than nickels, so if we called dimes and nickels being the x, then dimes will be x plus 6. Now, that has to be multiplied to 0.1. Then we realize the only possible choice would be choice 2. Alright. So here we have, I would like to maybe make this picture a bit small. Oh well, I guess I cannot do it. Now here, the fact that we are looking for a line of symmetry, then we realize that somewhere around here. You see? Then this is where x is equal to negative 1, 2, 3. This is where x is equal to negative 3. That's where this parabola is symmetric about. So therefore our answer becomes x equals negative 3 right here. That is our answer. Not y, but x. Alright, so here, the next question is this. We want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, but this one doesn't include 1 nor 4, so this one is out. Here, it does include 1 because 1 is greater than 0, but I'm sorry, the 4 is not included here. So this one is also out. How about here? It includes 1, and for aha, this must be the answer. Now, in this case, notice that I have x and x, common denominator here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2 over x from each side. Then we'll end up getting negative 3 is equal to 24 over x. Now, by cross multiplying it, we get negative 3x equals 24. X equals, when you divide by negative 20, when you divide by negative 3, we end up getting negative 8. Becomes our answer right here. Next, we want to have the common denominator here. That means common denominator would have been 15x, because x being the highest variable, and then between 3 and 5, the common multiple would have been 15. In order for us to get 15, here we have to have multiplied by 3 on each side. Here we got to multiply by 5 on each side. Then we end up getting denominator, yes, it becomes 15x. On the numerator on the left side, it becomes 18, minus on the other side, it becomes 10. Then we end up getting 8 over 15x. Therefore, we get this as our answer. Now, next, which order pair is a solution? Now, then we have to solve for the value of x and y. Now, here we have, since both of them are equal to y, we can set this one up as x squared minus x minus 20 is equal to 3x minus 15. Now, as you getting rid of all the values on one side so that we can factor and set it equal to 0, we gotta subtract 3x, and add 15, and add 15. Now, what does that mean? On the right side, we do get 0. On the left side, we have x squared. Here we have minus 4x, and we have minus 5. That means this can be factored into x minus 5 and x plus 1 equals to 0. That basically means x can be either 5 or negative 1. Now, it's seemingly we have two possibilities right here and right here. So we're going to plug in. A negative 1 is plugged in here. Then we will end up getting 3 times negative 1 minus 15, which will end up being negative 18, and that seems to be correct. Now, you will realize this one by yourself. When you plug in 5, you will not get negative 1. So therefore, that cannot be the answer. Next, here we have the length of the rectangular room. Oh, I think it would be better if you had to have some sort of rectangle here then. Alright, so we have rectangle. And then, the length of the rectangular room is 7 less than 3 times the width. So, in this case, if we get this one to be the W, this one is 7 less, notice that we put 7 or the less than value at the end, less than 3 times the width. 3W, that's what we end up getting. Now we're looking for the area of this room, so we just have to multiply them here. Area then becomes W times 3W minus 7. In other words, we get 3W squared minus 7W. That becomes our answer. We have choice number 4. How about number 25? Now it's not defined. That means whatever the numerator is, denominator will be equal to 0. So x squared minus 9 has to be equal to 0. Now when you factor this one, x plus 3, and also x minus 3 equals to 0. That makes x being 3 or negative 3. Alright, now here, parallel to this, parallel, that means it has to have a slope of negative 2. Now, which one has a slope of negative 2? Of course, these are not the one. Here, in fact, if you're to solve for y, what's going to be happening is by subtracting 4x from each side, we get 2y is equal to negative 4x plus 5. As you divide by 2, y becomes negative 2x plus 2.5. So then, there it goes. We realize that this one has the same slope as the other one. Number 1 must be correct. Now, when we multiply these two, what's going to be happening? Now, these two have the same basis, So therefore, 8.4 multiplied by 10 to the 8th. Notice how I'm placing all the values. And then next one is times 4.2, and then times 10 to the third power. So here we get 10 to the 11th power. But how about here? This when you multiply these two values, it will be about 35.28. Now, but first number cannot be greater than 10, so therefore we gotta bring the decimal point here and making this one into 12, which is choice number 4. All right, let's move on. Which graph represents a function? Function, that means one value of x has to have a one value of y. That means choice number 4 will be our answer. All right, let us try to simplify this one. What's going to be happening? We have 27 k to the 5th power and m to the 8th power all over 36 because of 4 and 9. And we have k to the 3rd and m squared. Now, when we try to look into these, 9 is common, so we get 3, we get 4. Here we have 2, because 5 minus 3. Here, 8 and 2 cancels out, becomes 6. So we have 3 over 4, k squared, and m to the 6th power. That becomes our final answer. All right, a few more things left. So Sarah measures a rectangular bedroom window in a new shades. Her measurements are 36 and 42. Now the actual measurements are these, a little bit off. Now how are we gonna figure out the first determine the number of square inches in the area of the window. We need to determine the area of the window. Determine the number of square inches in the actual area of the window. Now, since her measurements are 36 and 42, what we end up getting here is we're going to have a rectangle, and this portion looks like 36 and this portion looks like 42. Now, so in order for us to get the area, we just have to multiply those two things. Then what do we end up getting? We get 36 times 6 is 216, and then times 7, which is equal to 2, 4, 1, goes up 1, and then 15. 15, 12. Now, that is the correct answer. Now, I mean, that is the answer measured by the Sarah. Now, but the question is determine the number of square inches in the actual area of the window. So next one is we need to determine actual value. So what we're going to be doing is multiplying this one, 36.5 times 42.5. So this one I'm going to just borrow here. Okay, so we have 36.5 multiplied by 42.5. Then here we have 155,125. Okay, so this becomes 155,125. Then we realize that the value is a bit off. So they are in fact both of them are off by very little bit. They're off by 0.75. So the next one is determine the relative error in calculating the area. Now, area will be relative error. Now then becomes 0.75 over the actual value, which is 1.25. All right, that becomes our relative. And then they want us to express the answers in the decimals to the nearest thousandth. And we're just going to calculate this one. So we have 0.75 divided by actual value. So we get 0.00048. Alright, that's the value that we end up getting. So this is our answer. In fact, thousands, if you to apply that to thousands, then we end up getting 0.000, because 4 cannot become 5. Alright. Next. We just have to do this one. Now, in order for us to do this, let's factor first. Since we have a division, let's flip and then multiply first. So we have 3x plus 6 over 4x plus 12 multiplied by x plus 3 over here x squared minus 4. Now, when you factor each one of them, we end up getting 3 times x plus 2. On the bottom, we have 4 times x plus 3 multiplied by x plus 3 divided by x plus 2 and x minus 2. Now for canceling, my favorite part, here cancels out. Here cancels out. So we end up having 3 over 4 times x minus 2. That becomes our final answer. Alright, the next one here, we have a soup can in the shape of cylinder. In fact, since we didn't talk about the volumes that much, let's skip this question. Yeah, we will go over this solid geometry a bit later. Now the next question, algebraically. Okay, now in order for us to solve this one thing that which we can do is, let us get rid of one variable. Now I see that we can easily get rid of this one. We can easily get rid of x's because none of them are the same by multiplying this one by 3 and 4. How about 12 becomes our value? Then we multiply this one by 3. Then the first equation now becomes 12x plus 8y is equal to 16. The second one becomes 12x plus 9y equals 21. Now, when you subtract second one from the first one, we end up getting these two cancels out. We have negative y, which now is equal to negative 5. Therefore, y must be equal to 5. Now, that's when you y value, but how are we going to get x value? You can plug in any one of them. So let me just try to plug it in. 3x plus 2 times 5 is equal to 4. That means 3x must be equal to negative 6, where x equals to negative 2. That equals negative 2, and then 5 becomes our answer. Now, here we have, if I have to rewrite this one, then we end up getting, by subtracting 2x, we have negative y is greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 6. Now, if you want to use the negative, then we can divide the whole thing by negative sign, but we just have to make sure that we have to switch the sign, so we have y is less than or equal to 2x minus 6. Now, that means starting from negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to go up by 2 over 1, up by 2 over 1, up by 2 over 1, and so forth and so on. So in fact, we end up getting an equation, or rather, line that goes something like this. Now, that is the first part. But x has to be greater than 2. That means, how can x be greater than 2? Maybe we will just use this one. X is 2 right here. Oh, I'm sorry, not a y, but x has to be greater than 2. That means I'm gonna move it right over there. Alright, so let us try to start shading. Y is less than that. Y is less than that. So we're looking at this area. But x has to be greater. How can x be greater? Greater means to the right. So x has to be greater than we are looking at. haha, then we realize that our answer will be right over here. That becomes our solution, big S. Alright, I guess that's about it. And I'll see you in class, and have a great time studying. See ya.